It will be a first ever.
For years, the biggest names in women's tennis dominated the headlines. Grand Slam champions, Olympic gold medalists, former world number ones. They filled stadiums, sold millions of tickets, and carried the sport on their shoulders. Then something extraordinary happened in Washington, D.C. A 21-year-old unseeded player from the Philippines walked into the Mubadala Citi DC Open with almost no one expecting her to reach the final. Within a week, she had transformed the tournament into something no one had ever witnessed before. Final tickets vanished in just 1 hour. Not because an American star was playing. Not because Serena Williams had returned. Not because a Grand Slam final was being held. They disappeared because Eala was on the schedule. For the first time in WTA history, a tournament final in the American capital became the hottest ticket in town because of a Filipina. Think about that for a moment. The crowd wasn't simply cheering for an underdog. They believed they were watching history unfold. And by the end of the week, one of the greatest players of her generation would publicly declare what the tennis world could no longer deny. She's incredible. She's a star. Those words came from Naomi Osaka herself. When a 4-time Grand Slam champion says something like that, the conversation changes forever. But to understand why this week mattered so much, we have to go back to where it all began. When Eala arrived in Washington, she wasn't carrying the confidence of a tournament favorite. She arrived without a seed beside her name. She hadn't played a hard-court match in nearly 2 weeks after an exhausting run to the 4th round at Wimbledon. Her previous appearance in a WTA final still lingered in her memory. At Eastbourne a year earlier, she stood just 2 points away from lifting her first major WTA trophy before losing a heartbreaking championship tiebreak. That defeat could have shattered her confidence. Instead, it quietly reshaped her mentality. There was another challenge waiting before she even stepped onto the court. Her usual support team wasn't there. Neither her fitness coach nor her traveling coach made the trip. Only longtime coach Joan Bosch stood beside her. One coach, one player, one opportunity. Sometimes greatness begins with the smallest team imaginable. Then came the draw. Calling it difficult would be an understatement. It was one of the toughest paths any player could face. Her opening match came against Olympic gold medalist Zheng Qinwen. If she survived that, former U.S. Open finalist Leylah Fernandez waited in the next round. Then came defending Washington champion Elina Svitolina. And if somehow she made it through all of that, a semi-final against 4-time Grand Slam champion Naomi Osaka. Every round looked like a final. Every match demanded something different. Mental toughness, physical endurance, tactical brilliance, the ability to stay calm against champions. No Filipina had ever conquered a path like this at a WTA 500 tournament. Most people expected the dream to end early. Eala had other plans. The opening match against Zheng Qinwen revealed exactly what kind of week this would become. The first set didn't go her way. Rust showed. Her timing wasn't perfect. After 2 weeks away from hard courts, that wasn't surprising. She dropped the opening set. Many players would have allowed frustration to take over. Instead, Alex adjusted. Point by point, game by game. Her movement became sharper. Her confidence returned. Her forehand found the lines. The rallies grew longer. The momentum completely shifted. She stormed back to win the next 2 sets in convincing fashion. It wasn't simply a comeback. It was a statement. She had arrived. The victory immediately attracted attention online. A brief handshake after the match sparked discussion across social media, with fans debating its meaning. Some viewed it as a sign of frustration. Others pointed out that Zheng often reacts similarly after defeats. Whatever the interpretation, the moment added another layer of drama to a tournament already beginning to capture worldwide attention. But Alex wasn't interested in headlines. She was focused on the next opponent. And that opponent would push her even harder. Leylah Fernandez entered the match with experience on the biggest stages. She had reached a U.S. Open final. She understood pressure. She knew how to close out matches. For much of the contest, it looked like experience would prevail. Then came the turning point. Alex fell behind 1-5 in the second set. One more lost game, and the match would head into a deciding set. Momentum belonged entirely to Fernandez. The crowd sensed the shift. Most expected the Canadian to force a third set. Instead, Eala produced one of the most remarkable stretches of tennis of her career. She refused to panic. She trusted her game. One point became another. One hold became another break. Suddenly, the impossible comeback was alive. Game after game slipped away from Fernandez. Before anyone realized what was happening, Alex had won 6 consecutive games. The tiebreak wasn't close. She dominated it. The match was over. That comeback said far more than the final score ever could. A year earlier, Eastbourne had taught her how painful it felt to stand so close to victory and watch it disappear. Now she had become the player who refused to surrender. That wasn't luck. That was growth. The lessons from heartbreak had become the foundation for success. And with every passing match, belief continued spreading through the tournament grounds. Something special was happening. Next came defending champion Elina Svitolina. Champions know how to protect their titles. They know the courts. They know the conditions. They know the pressure. Everything appeared to favor Svitolina. But Alex played with astonishing composure. There was no panic, no hesitation, no signs that she was intimidated by the defending champion. Instead, she controlled rallies from the baseline, moved confidently around the court, and dictated the tempo. She won in straight sets. It became her 6th top 10 victory of the season. That statistic alone spoke volumes. This wasn't a lucky run. This wasn't a Cinderella story built on favorable draws. Eala was consistently defeating some of the best players in the world. For longtime Filipino tennis fans, it felt like validation. For years, many had insisted that her ranking never reflected her true ability. They believed the results would eventually catch up. Washington proved they were right. The rankings had finally begun reflecting the level of tennis she had been building for years. But the biggest challenge still remained. Across the net stood Naomi Osaka, a global superstar, a former world #1, one of the most powerful servers the women's game had ever seen. Most players approach Osaka hoping simply to survive. Eala walked onto the court believing she could win. And that belief changed everything. Standing across the net was one of the biggest names in modern tennis. Naomi Osaka wasn't just another opponent. She was a 4-time Grand Slam champion, a former world #1, one of the most recognizable athletes in the world. Her powerful serve had intimidated countless opponents. Her experience on the biggest stages was unmatched, and for years, she had been the player young stars dreamed of defeating. But on this day, Eala didn't play like someone living out a dream. She played like someone ready to create a new reality. From the opening games, it became obvious this wasn't going to be another upset fueled by emotion. This was controlled, calculated, confident. Eala attacked every opportunity, stepping inside the baseline and refusing to let Osaka dictate the pace. Instead of reacting to one of the game's biggest hitters, she forced Osaka to react to her. Every clean winner energized the crowd. Every successful return increased her confidence. And every game she captured made one thing increasingly clear. The moment wasn't too big for Eala. She was becoming the biggest story in the tournament. By the end of the match, the scoreboard delivered a result few had predicted. Eala defeated Naomi Osaka in straight sets. It wasn't luck. It wasn't a miracle. It was one of the finest performances of her young career. She broke Osaka's serve multiple times, protected her own service games with remarkable composure, and outplayed one of the sport's greatest champions from start to finish. Inside the stadium, thousands of fans erupted. But perhaps the most remarkable scene wasn't happening on the court. It was happening in the stands. For years, American tournaments had naturally belonged to American stars. Washington was different. A sea of Philippine flags filled the stadium. Every winning point from Eala was met with deafening cheers. The atmosphere felt less like a WTA event in the United States and more like a Davis Cup tie in Manila. Reports suggested that final tickets disappeared in roughly 1 hour. Even more astonishing, Filipino supporters made up the overwhelming majority of those ticket buyers. That had never happened before. Not in Washington. Not at a WTA 500 tournament. Not for a Filipino player. The tournament hadn't simply discovered a new finalist. It had discovered a new phenomenon. Even Jessica Pegula, the American world number 3, couldn't hide her surprise. Looking around the packed stadium, she admitted she couldn't believe how many Filipino fans had traveled to support Eala. She laughed as she wondered where they had all come from. It wasn't criticism. It was admiration. Because everyone watching understood the same thing. Eala wasn't just winning matches anymore. She was moving people. She was inspiring thousands to travel across states and countries simply to watch her compete. That's something statistics can never fully explain. Then came the moment that truly changed everything. After the semi-final, Naomi Osaka walked into the press room. No one expected what happened next. Instead of focusing on her own disappointment, Osaka chose to talk about the woman who had just defeated her. She called Eala incredible. She called her a star. She even described her as an inspiration, saying she loved hearing Alex speak because of her maturity and perspective. Think about what that means. These words weren't spoken by a commentator. They weren't written by journalists. They came from one of the greatest players of the modern era. Champions recognize greatness long before rankings do. And Naomi Osaka had just publicly announced that women's tennis had found its next star. That endorsement carried enormous weight. It wasn't manufacturer hype. It wasn't social media excitement. It was respect earned on the court. Suddenly, tournament directors, sponsors, broadcasters, and tennis fans around the world were paying closer attention. Washington wasn't simply another tournament. It had become Eala's arrival on the biggest stage. Even though the championship match ended differently than many fans had hoped. Heavy rain delayed the final, forcing the match to resume the following day. When play continued, Jessica Pegula showed why she was ranked among the world's elite. She played exceptional tennis and captured the title in straight sets. For Eala, the dream week ended one victory short of lifting the trophy. But here's what made that loss so different from the heartbreak she experienced a year earlier. This time, she didn't walk away wondering whether she belonged. She already knew. So did everyone else. She had defeated an Olympic champion. She had overcome a Grand Slam finalist. She had eliminated the defending champion. She had outplayed Naomi Osaka. And she had become the first Filipina ever to reach a WTA 500 final. No trophy could erase those achievements. If anything, they made the future even more exciting. Her remarkable run was expected to push her ranking to a new career high, placing her among the world's top players heading into the North American hardcourt season. For the first time in Philippine tennis history, Eala was projected to enter the US Open as a seeded player. Think about how incredible that journey has been. A young girl leaving the Philippines to train thousands of miles away. Years of sacrifice. Countless hours on the practice court. Difficult losses. Painful setbacks. Moments when people questioned whether she could truly compete with the world's best. Now those same people were watching history unfold. The conversation had changed. No one was asking whether Eala belonged. Now, the question was, how far could she go? Could she become a Grand Slam semifinalist? A finalist? A champion? For the first time, those questions no longer sounded unrealistic. They sounded possible. Very possible. Because champions aren't defined by a single trophy. They're defined by the moments that change the sport forever. Washington wasn't just another tournament on the calendar. It was proof that women's tennis had entered a new era. An era where a Filipina could sell out finals in the American capital. Where thousands of fans would cross borders just to watch her play. Where one of the greatest champions of her generation would willingly pass the spotlight to the next. The trophy may have gone to Jessica Pegula, but history belonged to Eala. And if Washington taught the tennis world one lesson, it's this. The Eala era isn't coming. It's already here. If you believe Eala can make a deep run at the US Open, let me know in the comments. How far do you think she'll go? Quarterfinals? Semifinals? Or will she shock the world again? And if you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications, because the next chapter of Eala's incredible journey may be even bigger than the last. If you're enjoying this story so far and you're passionate about the biggest moments in tennis, now's the perfect time to join the Tennis Diaries community. Subscribe to the channel, turn on the notification bell, and stay with us for more exclusive tennis news, in-depth match analysis, and unforgettable stories from around the world of tennis.